going on? It's the Black Guy 410 here with another album review. Today I want to talk about the latest album from Mr. Probz entitled The Treatment. Mr. Probz is a Dutch MC from the Netherlands, I believe. I first came across him way back when, I can't remember the year. He had not a verse. He sung the hook on one of Joe Budden's mixtape, Mood Music 3, the track Long Way to Go. And I remember looking him up after I heard just him singing the hook, just to see if he had any music. And I came across a few tracks that I liked. He had a track called Wise Old Man with this guy Sonny Diablo that was pretty dope. He had another track called I Can't Sleep Sometimes, which was another one of my favorites of his. And he'd done some collabs with some pretty notable people. I know he did, I think, a few tracks with Joel Ortiz. I know he's done a track with Graf and Shot Stimuli. I just saw him, he would randomly pop up like every now and then, and I would listen to him, and I just thought he was really dope. For people who don't know him, have never listened to his music, he's not the greatest lyricist in the world, but he definitely he gets his point across in his delivery and just the style and the way he raps. He also sings. He has a very like this raspy singing voice, but it definitely works. Actually, one of his biggest tracks that he released recently, I think they came out last year, he had a track called Waves, which was a song of him just completely singing. And that song, it was a really good song, a simple, just kind of like guitar and string track, and it was just him singing. And that track blew him up, really. That track has well over 1 million views now, I believe, all combined. And he got a really big buzz from that, which kind of, he needed it, because The Treatment it's been delayed many times for people who've been following his career. He's had some setbacks, and The Treatment was supposed to have came out, a while ago, and it's finally here. And yeah, after Waves like was the perfect thing. It was the perfect time, and it gave him the perfect buzz for him to put enough eyes on him, and now he's finally releasing something. And as far as The Treatment goes, this is a very like moody, I guess, kind of track. His content is very, like I said, he's not a super lyricist, but I think he makes up for it. And with his content, he's a very kind of like introspective kind of guy, talking about anything from like his just inner demons that he fights, the struggles that he had during childhood and even now, and like relationship failures and all those kind of emotions. That's another reason why I can dig his music. And I think he has a good like rap cadence. He has this, like I said, I like that raspy kind of sound that he has. Production on this album, it wasn't great, but there aren't, I don't think there are any beats on here that you're gonna hear and be like, man, that was, that beat was crazy, and you'll be like nodding your head. This is more so like, I think you'll really just vibe with this, because it's not always about having a serious beat. You need just a beat that's gonna fit the song and what he's trying to go for, which I think he definitely did on here. Like I said, a lot of these tracks they're introspective, kind of dark, kind of moody, and these beats they fit that and at the direction that he was going for. I also like the use of the live instrumentation that he had on some of these tracks. One of the tracks had a really good saxophone. Some of these tracks have pretty cool guitars and strings that just help him further fit the mood of the tracks and the content in the tracks, and it gives that just that feeling that'll draw you in to what he's talking about. This is a very short album, 13 tracks, but short isn't bad. You got to get straight to the point, which he does. I love the first track. No, not the first track, actually. First track is the intro. He has a song called The Treatment, and then he gets to Driving. Driving is probably my second favorite song on here. And like the title states, it's definitely like one of those tracks that, like, if you were driving just kind of at nighttime and you're just kind of, you're in that mood when you're just kind of, your mind is just kind of all over the place and you're just thinking about, just random stuff. It definitely has that kind of feel. And it's a very like chill, kind of laid back track. And it's just him just being just introspective on his feelings and just kind of like the inner demons he's fighting, and he's just thinking about that, as he's just cruising, which, I think we've all been in that mood before. And that's one of the tracks that I like the live instrumentation on. It has a nice little saxophone joint at the end, the way the track rides out. Harder on Yourself is another good joint on here. I like the content on this one. It's a very honest track that talks about kind of the flaws that we all have and how sometimes we make our own situations worse just by the way we act. Like I know he has a line in there talking about how guy gets fired from his job, but he talked bad about the boss, so that didn't help his situation anymore. And talking about people hiding the fact that they're broke, trying to fake like everything's okay. And yeah, I can dig that track just because of the content. It's a real, just a honest kind of track. Another track, I'm Right Here, which displays some of his that raspy singing. This is another like really kind of moody track. He talks about a failed relationship pretty much, and how he wishes it could get back together, but he knows it won't. And one of my favorite lines on here, probably not even just on this track, on the whole album, and he says like I don't want to live, don't want to die, I'm somewhere in the middle between a if and a why. Do I keep trying? Why do I keep myself asleep with a dream and a lie? I thought that was a really dope line. I think that line, especially that last part of why do I keep myself asleep with a dream and a lie, I think we've all at some point or another felt like that. Turning Tables was another good track on here. I can't think of who he'd be talking about in this track. I think it was, I'm gonna guess it was a sibling, because in the first line he mentions about how they came from the same womb. But basically he's just talking about how I guess he feels betrayed some kind of way by this person, about how I guess when they grew up that person didn't turn out to be who he thought they would, and they kind of they clashed and had differences, and he's just kind of going his separate way because he's just not feeling what that other person is doing. Gold Days, which featured Action Bronson, which was one of the few features. This album was very short on features. Pretty much him talking about how he's struggling in life, but he still has his eyes on the prize, so to speak, of wanting the good things in life. Action Bronson comes through with a dope verse. And I think not the last track, but the next track I mentioned, Do It All Again. This is probably my favorite track on the album. And when I first heard this track, it made me think of the song Waves that he did, because it's a complete song of him just strictly singing with that raspy voice, a simple kind of guitar and string track, but it still like has some emotion in it. And the first verse is him going in detail about how poor he was as a kid, and the second verse talks about he had got caught in like a gun situation with the cops, and he was just talking about how everything was just going wrong. Life was just, I guess, kind of spiraling out of control. But I love that track because it reminded me so much of Waves. And Waves, like I said, that was one of his biggest tracks. That should have been. I wish that was actually on this album. It wasn't. I was kind of disappointed when I looked at the track list and saw that Waves wasn't on here. But it definitely has that Waves vibe to it. And I think anybody who's a Mr. Probz fan, this will definitely, if you like Waves, this will probably be one of your favorite tracks on this album. And the closing track, Hurdles, it was a cool track. Just him just kind of venting about the struggles he's had, but how he'll overcome the hurdles, so to speak. And yeah, I don't have a lot else to say. Like I said, this album was a pretty short listen, which I think it's a good thing. This was a solid release. Not the best album in the world, but it's definitely a good starting point. I think he has room for improvement, but I think this is a good introduction for people to be a fan of his music. And I know people who have been a fan were just happy to have him finally release a full project. Because like I said, The Treatment, we've been people who've been following his career have been waiting on this literally, I think, for years now. But it's a solid project. I think if you download this, it is free. He has a SoundCloud page that you can check the whole album out on. I think you'll go away with a few tracks from here. Like I said, it's not the most lyrically greatest album. Like if you come, he's not one of the guys you're gonna listen to if you want like some bars. If you're expecting like crazy punchlines and metaphors, this probably isn't the album for you. But if you want something just kind of something you can just vibe and just, I guess, like kind of reflect to, this is probably something you'd want to check out. So yeah, good to see that he's got his career back on track after all the setbacks. Hopefully he'll be a lot more active in the future with as far as releases. I'm pretty sure this album will get him some good acclaim. I believe he has a pretty good fan base in overseas, so and this will do nothing but boost that. But yeah, man, go check him out. If you like this, definitely listen to the songs Waves. Actually, I would say listen to that song before you even listen to this album. That song kind of embodies kind of what this album is, just a tale of struggles, ups and downs, and things like that. Go check out some of his old works, some of the other artists he's collabed with. I know he has a couple songs you can type in on YouTube and they'll pop up. Said he has a nice little style of his own. Like I said, not a great lyricist, but he gets his point across in a very direct way. But I think what helps him is his content is relatable. So yeah, Mr. Probz, The Treatment. Go check it out, give it a listen, tell me what you think. And I enjoyed it. Still listen to it. Like I said, Do It All Again is one of the tracks I'll always go back and listen to. And yeah, go check it out. Hopefully I'll be back soon with another album review, but until next time, catch y'all later.